Bum 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 ba doo ba doo doo ba doo ba doo shoo ba doo ba doo a shoo ba doo ba doo bum 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 bum. Little singing monsters. A little singing monster. Anyways, this little intro, little singing monsters intro to get us started. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in. You're watching right now. You are watching episode 44 of the Rephil. Already 44 episodes in. It's crazy, man. Only 2 a week. 2 a week, and we're already at 40. What a weekend. What a big weekend for sports. Of course, the Olympics is going on, as we know. But some big stuff going on in the world of basketball in terms of the All-Star Weekend potentially being revived from the death that it's felt like it's had for the last 7 years. I personally enjoyed it a lot of the All-Star Weekend, so I wanted to be talking about that. We'll be talking heavily on the NBA, particularly a lot of the stuff that has come out with Kevin Durant. Additional burner accounts. You know, if only we had as many subs to the channel as Kevin Durant has burner accounts, I'd have more. Let's just say that. I don't know how many I'd have, but I'd have more. I imagine I'd have more subs than I do now. And then, of course, I want to talk a little bit about Lakers, and I'll just talk about some random other stuff at the end of the show. And back in the middle, we're going to be talking about the Dolphins and getting into their rebuild a little bit. But we'll also be getting into that tomorrow when we have our Dolphins expert in on the show to discuss. Congratulations. Congratulations there. It's not even congratulations. More like stay tuned for when we talk about that. But right now it is 7:07 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. A little slight late start to the show, but I had to get myself all situated and sorted and all caught up. So I'm excited to talk about the All-Star Weekend. That was big, I felt. We got the Dolphins doing a lot of rebuilding today, and then the big drop. The second most important files, the Kevin Durant files, have been dropped, and we got to get into all the burner account stuff. I got a lot of things to say on that. Having KD being on my team, my favorite team just a year ago. So a lot of things to get into, a lot of things to get started with. And the best thing to get started with today has got to be the All-Star. And the reactions from a lot of different people on all of that. I'm going to be talking about the main 3 things for me. I'm going to rip off. I'm going to start with the most fresh in my mind because I watched it earlier today. The 3-point contest, of course, coming down to Knipple, Devin Booker, and Dame Time Lillard. I thought I've never not found the 3-point contest never not entertaining. I've always thought it's like fairly decent, and we got quite a show for this one. When I saw Khan, I think it started with Khan running off the rip to 27. I thought that was, for a rookie to do that right off the jump, was very impressive. And then my boy, my beautiful, precious boy, Devin Booker, doing what he does oh so very well. Unbelievably well. Incredibly well. Come in, dropping, what was it, 30? And then Dame coming in 29 to steal second. And then, of course, in the last round, Dame snatching away a win from not even snatching it, really. Book had his chance at the end, going into the last rack with 23 and then just missing the last 3 shots. It was, that was heartbreaking. And now he's reported that he's unlikely to participate in it again, which really does suck as a Phoenix Suns fan to not Booker win it. It was cool to see Dame win it as like an NBA in general, but as a personal Phoenix Suns fan, it does frustrate me that knock down any of those last 3. Once he missed one, I could tell he was going to. It's a heartbreaking thing to see. I just want, let Book win something. It wasn't not meant to. And it's probably never going to happen because I did, which is a shame. I think Book is one of the better, why he's there often, and has one of the best forms as well in comparison. have one of those guys that has one of the best forms. It's a darn shame we're not going to see him again. I hope he can reconsider coming back, because I think let's be honest, the 3-point contest is just better when the 3-point shooters are good. Like we saw Knipple have a very impressive performance. Game fight being basically all the time these days, came in and put on a nice book. Still, despite these ends, still had a shot at it. Had a shot at the end, just couldn't make a shot to save his life towards the end with those last 3. I thought it was good. I thought the 3-point contest was good. I've never really. I also, in regards to the 3-point contest, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think I've ever seen someone like complain heavily if the 3-point contest doesn't live up to expectations. Like, people are usually more concerned about the dunk contest and the actual All-Star game. I mean, I'm sure there are some people who do care. I'm not saying that people don't care about the 3-point contest. I would just think that at a certain level, there's a reality where it's not as taken, like, oh my gosh, so heavily, like, I want this to be so great, in comparison to some of the other ones, right? It's just not, it's not quite on that level. I would think. I would imagine it's not quite on that level. But I could be completely. Let's see. We got Jay in the building. Jay, how's it going on? Let me get your applause, brother. Thank you. I appreciate you for popping out. Saying, the All-Star game competitive, I liked it. Dunk contest was like watching two. Yeah. Well, actually, I'm going to say this. I'm going to defend the dunk contest here a little bit. I obviously wasn't, like, it was mediocre. It was underwhelming 100%. I think a talking point that bothers me about the dunk contest is that when a lot of the conversations that I've had about the dunk contest, people will cite, like, Aaron Gordon and Zach LaVine, that one dunk contest, I think it was 2016 maybe, or like 10 years ago. People will always cite that dunk contest from that day. And that bothers me in discourse about the dunk contest, because that's like one of the best ones of all time, right? I know we want it to be that. It's never going to, like, I think it can have that mystique again, but it's just not going to happen with how manufactured the dunk contest is. People saw that dunk contest and have tried to replicate it 10 times over. I think the dunk contest, unlike the All-Star game and unlike the 3-point contest, it can't be as manufactured into being this spectacle. It's just the more you try to keep putting in these, like, every time the dunk contest basically has to be carried by Mac McClung the last 3-4 years, right? You can't keep putting these, like, young guys who have never have to dunk a ball and then expect them to be good right off the rip, or expect them to have all these dunks, like, set up. And the reality is, if you've got, like, guys, even if you have, like, the best players in the dunk contest, like, they're usually trying to, like, focus in and win championships, not try to, like, dunk a ball like crazy. It just has to be natural. It has to be a natural thing. You can't go out and just find athletic freaks. You got to have athletic freaks who want to dunk a basketball the way LaVine and Gordon were doing, and they just don't really want to do that at this current juncture. I mean, again, like, how many guys went out there that were, like, guys who had never been in the dunk contest before? Like, what was it? It was Keldon Johnson who won, right? Like, I don't think, I want it to be good, but I think an issue with it is, if you want it to be good, you need to stop trying to say, well, it wasn't LaVine and Gordon. Like, that was one of the best dunk contests of all time. You're asking that to be the dunk contest every year. It's just not going to be the case. I want it to be the case. Everybody wants it to be the case. Much. You need to have a more tangible way to get these guys to want to do, right? Like, they need to have guys who want to show up and commit and try to match that energy. And right now, all they're just doing is just getting guys who they think are athletic enough to be able to do. Like, I wouldn't even be like, if you think about it, you don't necessarily even need crazy athletic dudes help. But if you just want to send a dude who's like, I want to do this for a dunk, and it'll be like, okay, but come on, let's see it. I don't know. I've always thought it's weird. I've always thought the way they score it is weird. I've thought a lot about the dunk contest is just generally bizarre. I'll tell you what, I don't think it's as bad as people are stating that it is. I think there were some bad moments. But there were like other moments where that's kind of happened before. And I think like even with like Gordon, maybe I'm wrong, but maybe even with Gordon and Levine, I think they had like multiple attempts. I remember like Levine had 2 attempts and he nailed them both. Or no, it wasn't Levine. Gordon had, I think. I just think there's got to be some level of creativity, and there just hasn't been since the last 10 years. I don't know. I'm kind of spitballing, but I don't see. I think it can be better. I just think every time we try to take it and compare it to that dunk contest, you're just not gonna find answers that way. I don't think that's the way to go about it. Like even what was I? I think it is kind of also that same expectation. Like the dunk contest is bad because the dunk contest is also being compared to one of the best dunk contests of all time every single year because it just hasn't lived up to that sense. Like I think if we took away the expectation of needs to be like Levine, we need to go back to those crazy dunk contests. Like you need to remove some of the expectation. Some of it. You can still have expectations genuinely not good, but if you keep having this, it needs to be this level great. I think it's very difficult that way. It's also very difficult to find out how to make it objectively better. That's where we run into dunk contest. But overall, I like the 3-point contest. Dunk contest, I do kind of agree was mediocre, but I still think it's like wasn't garbage. I still think there's room for it to be better. And finally, big thing I got to talk about. I thought All-Star Weekend, the way they did it with the like Star Stripes and World, that was great. I thought it worked so well. It felt like it mattered. Guys played hard. Guys were competing against you. Like Victor Wembanyama was huge. Like when we talk about setting the tone early, he was getting blocks. I think he had like a huge jam in the first game that they played. And I was like, that's all right. Like that, let's go. And even Ant afterwards in himself saying, Wemby set the tone. That Wemby set the tone that first game, and there was an energy to the actual All-Star game. Guys played like there was something on the line. Like there was a sense of pride on the line for. And I thought it worked very well. I don't think it was perfect, but I do think it was much better than what we've seen in the last 7-8 years of All-Star. I thought it was significantly improved. You had guys actually hustling. You had guys actually trying to play defense. Yeah, there was like some defensive breakdowns, but that's going to happen, I think, when guys are playing harder. Like, I think if there's a difference between a defensive breakdown and just guys being right. Like, I think there is a difference there. I thought it was competitive. You had young guys buying in them, getting into it. Like Anthony Edwards was playing his booty off. You had Victor in first World game, like, yeah, playing with a purpose. Like, and I think that's what's so exciting about the future of the NBA, and especially with Victor potentially being face is, like, I think part of the reason the All-Star game was so great all those years ago was Kobe. Kobe, when he showed up to the All-Star game, he was going to get after you. Like, he was going to have the Mamba mentality in the All-Star game where he had a sense of pride, like, I'm going to embarrass you. And now you're like, well, I don't want to be embarrassed, so I'm going to play my butt off. The same kind of deal. And I think if players act in that way where it's like, oh, I'm coming in, I'm going to embarrass these guys these guys are on my level. No, they're not. They're not on my level. I'm going to show you that I'm on a different level. And I think that is what makes the All-Star game entertaining, is you have like one or two guys that just stand out above the rest of the pack. Victor, I think, can be that for years to come. And I think has the potential to be that for years to come. And I think if you have those guys playing at those high levels, even in especially All-Star games, it's a great thing. Having and when you think about, that was what Kobe was. Kobe came out every single game with that Mamba mentality, and I think more guys need to have that kind of, I'm going to take it to the other guy, and I'm look like a child. That's kind of that. I think there's a certain sense of pride in that I think is going to make the All-Star game better, going to make viewing experience better. It's going to make the basketball that's being played overall better, and it's going to create. I think the best thing in sports that we all like is sort of these little rivalries, these little spats, these little players have. It makes it feel like the game matters all that much more. It feels like it's a living what it's supposed to be. I think that's going to be awesome to see coming into the. Oh yeah, we're gonna see these guys get out for years to come in these All-Star form. I think it works. My one criticism of the All-Star form is the round robin style. So when we looked, I believe, let me look at this, was when those teams, right? We had World, and then we had Stars go up. Then World sat, rested. Then it would be Stripes and Stars. Had Bron and KD. And then you get World and Stripes. So Stripes has now played 2 games in a row. World is coming off rest. Stripes still won, but now you have Stripes playing a 3rd straight game against a Stars team that was rested. Then that championship game. Right? Like that's kind of the issue, is how do you balance it where everybody's fairly rested in the game? And I get it. They're meant to be like athletes. They're supposed to be able to take it, but that like all of the 3 other games felt way more important than the championship game. Yeah, the Stars just whooped the old dude because they were out of energy. Like they were about to play their 3rd game in a row. They just weren't going to be able to match, which is the one issue, right? That's something that they're going to have to fix and that they have to figure. But I don't know. I think honestly, if you really look at it, if even if the championship isn't that, like, I think that you have to fix that. You have to find a way to have that championship be a close scoring affair. It won't be that way in the first time it's tried, but I think that could become an issue. That round robin format stays gassed, and I think that's where that can be try to balance in the future. Overall, I thought it was a great debut for the All-Star form. I thought it worked very well. I think it did a fantastic job. I think it did exactly what it worked. It worked, and I think they will hopefully that they don't just stop here. I hope they do add improvements because it's good, works well, but it does need to have a couple things. They're able to do that moving forward in the future. I would hope that that's the case. Jay was also in the chat saying, well, they basically told Mac no because the NBA players got tired of losing. Point, throw it away, kill it. Jackson Hayes did a dunk I seen kids do in high school. I see your point, Jay. I do see that some of the dunks are kind of, but also like I would also make the argument, yeah, high schoolers are doing that, but high schoolers are also doing that because dunk contest. That may sound kind of crazy, but kids see this on TV. Chances that they try it and be able to. I get there needs, but I think the other big issue is there's just not a lot of dudes going to, I guess, be as committed as Mac McClung to it. Yeah, and in regards to having like, oh, we don't want to lose to Mac McClung. If you don't want to lose, then I think get better at dunking. Like, get better at dunking. You're an NBA, you can figure it out. Like, get creative. Do something like, and honestly, I think the one thing about the dunk contest that I think allows is for opportunity. Yeah, exactly. Be creative. Like, I would say, especially like, I think the dunk contest actually have like players show off their person. It's like, who was it? It may have been like, I think it was Joel Embiid who was once watching like Rick and Morty or something on his, or like Karl Anthony Towns, I think, has talked about like 5 nights. Like if you as an NBA player were like, hey, I want to do this dunk, but I want to incorporate this thing that I also like that necessarily isn't really a part of NBA, somehow incorporate it into the, Like I'd give you like I don't know, like what's like a good example? Like I would say, let me think. Give me a second. I can hold on. My brain's giving ideas. Like if you incorporate, okay, here's a good idea. Airbud. Remember the movie Airbud? Airbud, the dog that plays basketball. If you had a dog involved in a dunk, that would be insane. That would be crazy. Like if the dog bopped up like a lob for you to dunk and then you just bam, like that's, it may not be as crazy, but that's like creative. Like that's the whole point. The whole point of the dunk contest is supposed to be creativity. You get a dog bopping up a ball to you, like, dude, that would be awesome. Or like, what do you parachutes that they have, and like, remember those parachutes that you lift them up and then you get underneath, hide underneath? What if you put a ball in the center and you had a bunch of kids trying to get the ball to go up, and then they popped it up and you just grabbed it and jammed it all a bunch of kids are watching. Oh my god, he just did that! Like that would be awesome. And there's so many other things you could do that way. Like not even about the dunk at a certain. How do you like get the ball in the air? What kind of cool things can you dunk over? What kind of cool things can lob you the ball? Right? Like how, or what if you did like 2 basketballs? Throw in 2. Where are the 2 basketball dunks? Like let's see it. And I think there's ways to easily be creative, and they don't want to because they're like, it'll hurt our brand, dude. No, impossible. It is impossible. Like you don't want to incorporate certain things because they think it'll hurt. No, it's not gonna hurt the brand. It's only gonna grow it. It's just growing the NBA. Get some cool dunks going. Like there's so many more too. Like imagine I was like imagine, okay, imagine this. Like what if you're like what if somebody dropped the ball all the way from like the top of the rafters, in where the rafters are? Somebody tosses a ball from the top and it drops all the way down, and you got to catch it at its point and time it perfectly and wham it down. That would be insane. Like that would be crazy if somebody just like, you have to time that perfectly. Just have them have a couple balls up there. They're not, a lot of the time they might not get it on the first try, but if they like, oh dude, the teardrop too, like the angle of the camera you could, like there's so many simple ideas. Forget about just what you're like, because they make it so, looking at the basket, I'm like, how do I walk here? No, like put the ball elsewhere. Put it somewhere else. Make it, so many ways. So many things. Or like, what about like a science experiment? What if you had the ball under like, someone who's doing a science experiment on top of the volcano? The volcano blows up, and then the ball launched up into the air, and then over the top of a volcano, you're coming in, you're slamming it down over the volcano that you just built, and then crunching down, and it's landing on the kid's science project. That is a creative dunk. Why can't we get that? That's so possible. That's possible to do. Do it. Because what you're doing is unfortunately underwhelming. All you need, like, it may not be cool in practice. It ends up looking kind of mid, but at least you're trying to make something that hasn't been done before. Come on, I'm gonna list off. I'm gonna give 100 ideas. I'm gonna make a list tonight. I'm just gonna write things down. I'm gonna be at work. I'm gonna be thinking about ideas for dunks. Just gonna catapult. Make a catapult, a trebuchet, like a spear. Put the ball on the end of a spear and javelin throw it. Discus the ball up top. Like, look, come on, kickball it. Have somebody hit it from the baseball bat and swing it over. There's so many options. So many options. Yeah, look at that t-shirt gun lob. Come on, it's there. It's there for the taking, and it hasn't been done. Bring it home. We're gonna fix the NBA dunk contest. We're gonna fix it. But overall, that's the one thing that needs fixing. But All-Star Weekend is there. It's on its way to being better. We're taking the right steps overall. Like, we can get there. We can get to where the entirety of All-Star Weekend is good. I don't know why I've them. proper grooming. Take care of your nails, by the way. This is just a general statement. I'm not calling anybody out. I'm just saying, general, good to take care of your nails. If you're liking the show, by the way, you know what? Like and subscribe if you're enjoying the show, because this is a good show. And you're not going to want to miss anything, because we got another topic to talk about after All-Star Weekend. Main synopsis. Getting better, but still a ways to go, and it will get better. I'm going to flip the script. We're flipping from the All-Star Weekend. I got to talk about the Miami Dolphins. So, the Miami Dolphins, a lot happened this week. Number one, the Miami Dolphins cut Tyreek Hill. They have released Tyreek Hill. Now, I haven't been able to check all of the full-time stats that I'm kind of looking at with what's going on with Tyreek. I know they did cut him. He's going to be a free agent for the very first time in his NFL career, because he's either been signed with the Chiefs or signed with Miami because he was traded there. So he'll actually have his choice. They're saving $22.8 million, which is a lot. That could be anywhere from like one big free agent signing that they could get to like 3 value dudes. So that's very impressive overall. They cast him away. I think they made $60 million plus in cap space as well, because they're also going to be moving off Bradley Chubb. They'll be parting ways with him as well. So basically, Miami is hitting the full reset button. They are anything involved with the Tua Tagovailoa, Mike McDaniel era. They're probably moving on. Outside of like young guys, maybe like Waddle, and they're moving off some big pieces, right? They're retooling. Tyreek Hill, gone. Bradley Chubb, out. Now the question, there's 2 big questions that I'm going to have answered. Number one, we'll start with the Miami side of things. Where is Miami? Like, Miami is going to very clearly, to me, going into next year, I've talked about this since they've hired Jeff Hafley, they're going to build up on defense. I think that cap space is going to be bring in veteran defensive players, guys that can play well into Miami to contest against Josh Allen, and that is the game plan. As for who may be available, there are options. I haven't looked through the entire list. Mostly the main options I always come back to are the guards, because Zeitler, not Zeitler, but Tonio and Teller are going to be free agents, which I think could improve, like, say, the interior of the Raiders' offensive line. If we're looking defensively for like value positional players, Houston Texans, Danico Autry. Nico Autry, value player. Leonard Floyd, that's a value pick, right? Looking at like value on the defense. Kyle Duggar, I think, could be a value pick if you have him, right? Like, again, the idea that there is going to be Boye Mafe for the Seattle Seahawks. I mean, what if they let him walk, right? Like, that's also another Seattle corner, Josh Jobe, right? I think they're basically going to say they're going to kind of do what Jacksonville. I would say what they're likely to do is what Jacksonville did in 2022, Doug Peterson's first year. They're probably going to overpay a couple of guys. They might bring in, but they're going to bring a lot of different positions, right? Also, what Jacksonville did this year, they're going to bring in a lot of guys. They're not going to bring in studs, because that's not going to work. This team is not good enough to just bring in one big free, have it all work. They need to take their shot on a lot of decent free agents, bring them in, and say, this is what we're going to do. We're going to try to get as many guys in and try to hit on as many guys as possible, as opposed to trying to bring in a big, no pun intended. But they're not going to bring in there's no free agent on the board remotely, especially because I don't think this is an incredibly strong free agent class, even with Tyreek Hill added, who you're not getting. There's no one out there that's going to fix all your problems. You need to go out and you need to spend your money. You need to spend it in all your different positions. Probably need to add, I would say, probably maybe go out and add a receiver. But to me, I think it's defense. I think you need to get better on the edges. I think you need to get better in the secondary. I think offensively, you probably want to get better on the O-line. But if I'm Miami, you're bringing in Jeff Hafley. Jeff Hafley's going to spend his money on defense. He's going to go out and get the guys that he wants to help build up his defense. That's what he's going to build, plus in cap space. If you're not getting at least, I'd say 3 guys with that amount of cap space, then I think you're spending, like, maybe on 2 guys is reasonable if they're like really solid players. You're not getting, basically, if you're going to cut Tyreek Hill, you're going to need to get 3 guys at some level of position that could potentially. That's what I would do. I would look out for potential starters. You don't need superstars. You need guys that you think, are they going to be better than what we had last year? Can they start on this team? The answer is yes, and they're at a reasonable price, like paying $7 million a year. That's worth it. 100% worth it. That's what Miami should be for with that cap space. And the same thing, like Bradley Chubb's going to free up money. Let me just double. Look at that $60 million. I lost those. Going to be around 60. If you're not using that money from Tyreek Hill to get at least 3 players, have that amount of money attached to them, I think you're doing something wrong. And I think they can do it. Again, like there will be guys that are of value. Like when you think of free agent value, like, you know, it was a great, huge free agent value this year? Carolina Panthers, Rico Dowdle. That was huge value. Javonte Williams for the Cowboys, huge value. Those are the kind of guys you need to find. You need to find guys that you don't need to overpay, but will start on your team. You don't need to pay them a lot, but they'll be a starter. Like Zach Bond 2 years ago with the Eagles. They didn't pay him massive money. They just said, where can he start? Cool. He'll start middle linebacker. That's going to be a starter for us. Get massive value out of that. Those teams that are able to find those free agents that they don't need to be great. They just need to start, especially on a team that just needs in those spots. Miami needs to fill in roster holes. That's what they need to do. They go out and overpay for somebody. Guess what? It's not going to work because they're not close enough. They need to build up the roster. I think that's what Jeff Hafley's going to come in and do. He's going to probably find some value guys on the defensive end. He'll pill for Green Bay. I don't know how many defensive agents Green Bay really has, but that's what he's going to try to do. See where it goes. That's got to be the plan. Because if Miami comes out and says, we're paying a big free agent this amount of money, I got to tell you, that's a waste of time to me. A waste of time. Because what are you going to do with the rest of the money? You need to build up you clearly weren't good enough. You started, 0-3. You started 0-3. Team struggled the majority of the year. They only look that as good as they do because you won some games late in the year. That's the only reason they look as good as they do. They won some games late in the year, and it made them look a little better. But the majority of the time, getting BTA'd, man. Just beat the Jets. The Jets are 2 wins in there. So you need to find players that can start on your roster. If you don't have a situation out of the Tyreek Hill cap space situation where you're not signing around 3 guys to $7 million or even like 4 guys to like a $5 million a year, I would be fine with 3 because I think 3 you get like a quality starter, whereas kind of risky a lot of guys. You need to get some quality starters, guys who you think can start. You're gonna spend it all on Trey Hendrickson, spend it all just to go get Mike Evans. You're wasting your. It's a waste of time. No one wants to see Mike Evans in Miami. Nobody wants to see Trey Hendrickson in Miami because Miami's not a contender. Don't be wasting money on big free agents. It's not worth it. Use the draft. You want flashy guys? Go to the draft. But for free agency, stick to getting guys who will fill up roster spots. That's the Miami portion. Now, we talk about the Tyreek Hill portion. Where will Tyreek Hill end up? The obvious answer, Kansas City. Because, former Chief, Mahomes, they need weapons. They clearly struggled this year. That's the obvious answer. My question is, does it really make sense for a guy like Tyreek Hill who didn't want to be in Kansas City? Remember, he kind of forced himself out of there. I think Kansas City would have loved to have kept him if we're being honest. I'm now, 2020 hindsight, they're probably fine with the move because they won multiple Super Bowls. If you're Tyreek Hill, come on. I don't think your plan is to go back to Kansas. I've heard Buffalo thrown around if the problem is a thing and he wants to win. I've heard the Patriots be thrown out there, but again, I don't like that fit either. Because I know Stephon Diggs worked, but if you're going to bring in Stephon Diggs and Tyreek Hill into the same locker room, that feels like a weird recipe for a rather young core of players. It just isn't gonna work. At least I don't think that would work well. I don't think that meshes well. I saw the Raiders But I mean, again, like you're gonna have a young nucleus. Do you really want that in the locker room? I don't know. Marcus is chat. Marcus, let me get you your applause, my man. Good to see you guys. Good to see you, man. Marcus saying Jets, 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 Jets. I don't think that works either. If I'm Tyreek Hill, I don't want to sign with the Jets. If I'm the Jets, I mean, I guess you do need a receiver, but again, I don't know if that's going to help Aaron Glenn keep his job towards the end of the season, to be honest. I think Kansas City makes the most logical sense. There's also one floated around that was Chargers, but I'm going to tell you right now, I don't think Mike McDaniel wants to bring in Tyree. I mean, maybe he does, but it feels like part of the reason McDaniel ended up losing his job, maybe because Tyreek Hill stuff getting in the way. The reality is, Tyreek Hill cannot go to a team where he is like a top 2. Tyreek Hill needs to go to a team where important, but it's not dependent on that team for him to be able to do, right? One of the options that intrigues me a lot, and it's kind of the Packers. Any receiver right now, the Green Bay Packers really intrigue me because I've said it the entirety of this season. People want to keep claiming like, oh no, they have a wide receiver 1. They don't. Christian Watson's not a wide receiver 1. Romeo Doubs is not a wide receiver 1. Matthew Golden's not a wide receiver 1. At some point, you gotta get somebody. And at least Tyreek Hill feels like that could be somebody. That could be a guy. That could be a guy who could do potentially offense. Especially if you think Jordan Love is taking that. We're gonna sit here and say, oh, don't need a wide receiver. Yeah, you do, Green Bay. You kind of need help. You need to give Jordan Love a bona fide one. I get it. You'll have Tucker Kraft again. Parsons coming back, and I've seen some people put Bay as like a favorites. Listen, they got to get higher than a 7th seed. They got to win this division. Green Bay hasn't won this division with Jordan Love, so don't be sitting here telling me this is a Super Bowl team. Let's see them win the NFC North first. I think the best, in my opinion, I would like to see Tyreek in a place where he does not have to be wide receiver. In a place where, well, he'll have a good quarterback. And in a place that is well managed and handle his personality. I like Buffalo. But again, it just feels like if you got rid of Stephon Diggs to get away from that. So why bring in basically the exact same thing? Now he's coming off I don't think it works there. I think the team that I personally benefits most doesn't necessarily have a young nuke. They need a complementary wide receiver. Why not say, as crazy as it is, why not Seattle? Why would Seattle not consider? Because they already did with Cooper Kupp a banged up way. If they decide maybe we could upgrade at Kupp at the wide receiver spot, why wouldn't Seattle want to just improve their receiver? Because I think Seattle can function off of the fact that they don't need Tyreek Hill because they're going to have JSN on anyway. So now you get one of the scariest wide potentially. That has some intrigue. It kind of has some intrigue, and I don't know. That one intrigues me. It's not really being talked about. I maybe obviously probably just because Seattle won the Super Bowl, but a JSN Tyreek Hill combo could be very scary. Obviously the Chiefs are the favorites. I get that. At the same time, like I said earlier, running into will Tyreek Hill be okay just kind of trotting back to Kansas City after being forced out of there, and then they win 2 Super Bowls after? It's a real question. I think we're obviously gonna learn more about this as we get close to NFL free agency. If I had to go, I really like Seattle. I would consider, would actually be really fun, low key, would be Atlanta. Because think about it, fast track, you play half your games indoors, guaranteed, play New Orleans, with a speedster to line up alongside Drake London plus Bijan in the backfield. Could you imagine what Kevin Stefanski could draw up? I like that. I like those two. I like those two bird teams. Then there's honestly third bird team. Baltimore always basically needs wide receivers all the time, and signing washed up receivers is kind of their thing. They did it with D-Hop. They've done it with D-Hop. They've done it with, what else did they do it with? They did it with someone else before, didn't they? Before D-Hop? Am I losing my mind? I feel like they did. Had to have. Yeah, forget one. And that's, maybe I'm thinking maybe I'm just confusing Titans and Bones. And I'm confident there was one other guy brought in OBJ. That was the other one. Beckham. That was the one I was thinking. But yeah, just why not? Get Tyreek Hill in there. Keep claiming those washed receivers like they're in Findy still, Baltimore. But for Tyreek, Tyreek cannot be like your big free agent signing. That would be my argument. I wouldn't market Tyreek Hill as your big free agent signing. Whoever I'm signing with, I'm just saying he's gonna have him be a wide receiver 2. Bring in Tyreek Hill as your wide receiver 1. And I know that I kind of said that about Stephon Diggs last year. The difference is there. I still think there were, again, like even then, Stephon Diggs only had like a couple big games. It wasn't like he was dominant. They spread the ball around a lot. I think if you can either bring in Tyreek Hill as 2 things. A wide receiver, complimentary wide receiver 2, stuff for him to, or like a wide receiver 1 that isn't your main course of offense. That's what I would say. Mark is also saying he goes to the Pats. They have the most lethal 1-2 punch. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I was thinking about that. Like, oh yeah, it'd be with Stephon Diggs. That's a terrifying wide receiver around the world. Forget the league, the world. That's lethal. My goodness. Good Lord. All right. And by the way, if you guys are interested, also for tomorrow, I will be having a friend on, my Dolphins aficionado, Diamond. He will be on to discuss Miami Dolphins a little more as well. So you'll be able to his little takes on tomorrow. So that should be exciting. You guys should tune in for that and make sure you're in for that. Subscribed. Moving on back to the NBA. Here we go. The Kevin Durant files that have been released about his burner accounts. Now, as we all know, Kevin Durant is heavily known for his burner accounts, having to defend himself online, whether that be on Instagram, on X, on Twitter, on any social media site. Kevin Durant is a little bit insecure about his place in the world, and he defend online. I don't know how, as a multimillionaire, not to mention Hall of Fame basketball player, you are insecure, but hey, it happens to everybody. But I was thinking about this, and a couple things. First, let's just talk about some of these things that were said in the couple things. Number one, right now on the Houston Rockets, he has actively criticized Alperen Sengun for not playing. He criticized Jabari Smith for basically being bad at basketball. He's gone on Twitter. He has also been caught comparing Devin Booker, Frank Vogel, to dictators, Hitler and Mussolini. He has also called Russell Westbrook, which is kind of hilarious, a triple-double cocaine bear. Kevin Durant has said all these things about his former team. And this is not the first time. It will not be the last time. He's complained about the Warriors and Bob Myers. Complained about the Nets when it was falling apart there. He's complained in OKC how he was the only one that could, or not OKC. There was I think it was OKC. In OKC, complained how he was the only one that could hit a jumper, right? He's complained about Devin Booker, right? He's complained about Jabari Smith. Complain about Jabari Smith. Complain about Alprinson. Dude, he's got more burner accounts than I have subs on YouTube. Like, I could double my sub count if all of KD's accounts would just sub. Like, that's absurd. That is some That's ridiculous. I'm sorry. That's heinous behavior from a future Hall of Famer, from one of the best shooters of all time. And this is why, this is one of a couple reasons. Such a major reason why the Kevin Durant is not legendary soundbite rings so well with people. Because it's true. Kevin Durant is not legendary. He's just not. Nothing about him is legendary. He left OKC to ring chase with quite literally the team that went 73-9 and had the best regular season record of all time following year, right? So now, and every time he's not winning or not doing well, it's never his fault. It's always someone else's. It's always someone else's problem. His inability to lead is one of the reasons he's not a top 10 player of all time. It's why people will say Steph is better. It's why people will say LeBron and Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant, guys who have actual qualities, who aren't just blaming their teammates, who are taking accountability. And listen, it's not wrong to hold your teammates accountable. That's not what I'm saying. You need to hold your teammates accountable. But if you're not holding yourself accountable, what are you doing? You just sound like you're whining and complaining. You need to hold accountable. People look up to you. There are kids with your fat head or with your jersey. They have your fat head on their wall. They wear your jersey. They collect the trading cards. They wear your shoes. And you have no ability to lead grown men and get them to actually play better and play together as a unit. The only place that worked was in Golden State, where there were already established leaders that weren't you, right? Everywhere Kevin Durant goes, he tries to establish himself as the leader there. It doesn't work because he's not. He's not a leader. He's got no leadership quality. And he feels talk about this stuff online, on the internet, and make burner accounts instead of talking with his coaches and his teammates. Like, you know what that screams? Kevin Durant, get therapy. That's what that's for. You want to go ahead and trash your teammates and trash your coaches, then do it with your therapist. Do it with your loving mother, right? Gossip with your mom, with your parents. Gossip with a therapist. Do not go on the internet and spread your garbage like it's a good thing. Stop it. You look like a clown. This is why people have said that you are not legendary. This has been the massive dent, the incredulous asterisk on his Hall of Fame career, is that despite the fact that he has 2 championships, I do not think, when you ask me to describe Kevin Durant, I think very few people will use the term winner. I think very few people would use the term winner, and I think very few people would use the term leader to describe Kevin Durant. Very few people would use winner. Very few people would use leader to describe KD. They describe him great shooter, lanky, #2 overall pick, has a ring, they might say has multiple rings. They're not calling him a winner. He doesn't act like one. He acts like a childish brat. Kevin Durant needs a therapist. That's just the title. That's the title of the clip. Kevin Durant needs a therapist. That's what it's going to be. You want to gossip? You want to go play Gossip Girl? You want to play Sex in the City? Go do that there. You do not do this on social media. You are way too important of an individual. You make way too much money, play way too much basketball to be on your phone making burner accounts. Unreal. Jay saying Kevin Durant, more burners than X. More burners than X, man. I can't. It's childish. Right? Like, I can't be the only one. Like, everybody has this thought. Like, people, not that guy. You're not that guy, Poe. Trust me. You're not that guy. What happened is incredulous. Actually incredulous. The only thing I can hope is maybe the thing is, like, everyone will say, oh, he'll stop. People like, I hope he like learned. He hasn't learned. He hasn't learned. How old is Kevin? What, 30, 36, right? That's gotta be his age. Durant's what, 36? 37. 37, gonna be 38 September. And yet this man will use burner accounts to try to justify what? Because he thinks he's always right. His inability to whatever is what it is, man. You want to keep making those burners. Do what you want, but you're not gonna benefit. You can't be this guy that says I just want to hoop, then spend all this time spending yourself online through other accounts. Like, I can't believe I have to tell an NBA player to get a life. Bro has a life. He's just wasting it. He's wasting his time with this trash. This is what I do. Let me do this. Get off Twitter. Figure it out. All right. Last thing I want to get into. It'll be quick, and then I kind of want to go over the headlines up top because we got time. So, the Lakers. It was earlier, I want to say recently. LeBron said something. LeBron's always saying. LeBron said something stating that the Warriors that they're not a championship top tier after losing, which is true. They're not, and the reason why is because, let's be honest, LeBron's still on the team. LeBron's old, dude. Like, LeBron, this team was at one point built to say, how do we win a chip with LeBron at the Lakers? It's not, you're still trying to build with LeBron in mind on the team. At some point, you just got to say, yeah, LeBron's just not helpful. He's an old dude. He can't consistently play defense. He's just not giving you enough right now. Like, if we go look at the entirety of the NBA, like this, you know what this reminds me of? Remember, I want to say I think it was when the Suns, the finals against the Bucks, they were like a 7 seed. People thought they'd be, no, they weren't going anywhere. Look right now. Yeah, they're the 5 seed, but like, do you think they beat the Suns in a 7-game series? Do you think they beat Minnesota in a 7-game series? They might beat the Warriors in a 7, but they're not. They're really closer to the 7 or 8 seed than they are to like a 3 or 4 seed. Because of the way they're constructed, they just don't got defense. Who plays defense on the Lakers? I don't like. Who plays defense? Defense on the Lakers. Ready? There's nobody. Not a real, like, you gonna tell me DeAndre Ayton? Tell me DeAndre Ayton gonna play defense? Tell me Luka gonna play defense? Tell me 40-year-old LeBron's gonna play good enough defense? No. It's not constructed well enough. Got too much. They got guys that can, get me wrong. They'll obviously have, AR-15. They don't have enough really good defenders to be able to get out of the West. They don't. LeBron's right. Hey, say it as it is. LeBron is correct in his analysis that the team is not championship ready. And they're absolutely not making it out of the West. Like, what shot are they going to have? I'll tell you right now, I think if they played the only team in the top 8 of seeding, like even Portland, I could make a case could take the Lakers to 7 and win. I would argue the Timberwolves and Suns don't even need 7 games. I'd argue they'd take them down in 6. like don't have the ability to play defense for that long. They just don't. Those teams are way more well-rounded. Sorry, LeBron. You know, it is what it is. But I think this, and it happened to Golden State. Golden State, I'm getting off a little topic, but Golden State got into this where they wanted to win now, and they wanted to build. They thought, genius idea. Let's do both at the same time. And they fumbled the bag so hard. They had so many opportunities. Like, for example, they paid Jordan Poole, right? If Jordan Poole a new contract, this is going to be our guy. He's going to be part of what we're going to do. And then, at some point, Draymond Green punches him in the face. Do you know what that tells me? Why do you still have Draymond? You could have traded away Draymond and gotten actual young dudes who could play defense. But now you just have an old guy who gets, you have an old guy who just gets ejected like every couple weeks. Draymond's done. Like I just don't see, like you moved off Clay. You were willing to move off Clay, but you're not willing to move off Draymond Green? Really? Like and then this idea where you have Kuminga, right? Have Kuminga, he's playing well, and then again, here's your opportunity. Like they tried to play. Imagine you're at like a crossroads, not a crossroads. Imagine you're at like a fork in the path. Make a decision. You need to either go this way and right now go this way, and you build for the future. Instead, and then there's a sign in the middle post that says, "Up this way." Now, and the Warriors just kept walking forward and walking forward and walking forward, walking forward, until eventually they ran face first into the sign and got a dent on their head, and now they're like an unrecognizable. Like they just walked into like a bush of poison ivy. Now they are unrecognizable. They were well run for so long, and they kept trying to have their cake and eat it too. And like I can walk both paths. It's like no, you need to pick a path, and instead they fell on their behind. And here we are. They are an 8th seed in a West that is completely stacked, and they have no shot. They have no chance. They sat there like, man, dude, Kuminga's our guy. He's playing well. And then what did they do? Yeah, they benched him. And then now all of a sudden, well, Jimmy Butler's down. He's out with an ACL. Draymond's hurt. Steph's hurt. Kuminga, you want some minutes? And he's like, oh, my back's sore. And then you trade him. Like, if you had stuck to the idea of building for the future, then maybe you could actually have a young team. Or if you stuck with the idea of building to win right now, you could have traded guys like Kuminga and Jordan Poole earlier in the process to actually get legitimate value for them. Now, you're left with nothing. You're left with table scraps. And you're left with a bunch of old dudes who are outdated, not good enough, and frankly, not going to be able to stay healthy enough, go out, and win a playoff series. Not going to happen. I wouldn't doubt it if the Warriors straight up lose in the play-in. I wouldn't doubt it if, they play Phoenix? Phoenix wins that game, I think, 9 times out of 10. Suns against the Warriors? Playing tournament, 9 times out of 10, that's Phoenix. Then if you're looking like Trailblazers, Clippers, kind of dependent, but I think both those teams. That's what I would think. And I get it, they're experienced, but old. Done. Only so much more they could get from them, right? Gross. Moral of the story, if you're a team, you're stuck between build or build to win now, I don't care what decision you make. I do. It might depend on context. Make a decision. Pick one. Don't do both. You're going to end up in purgatory. That's where the Warriors are going to be right now. Where they are. We don't know how long it'll be. Purgatory. Sit there as, like, you're basically deciding to be like the Hawks, the Bulls. Just a constant, we're in the play-in turn. You don't want to be that. You don't want to be stuck in that purgatory because it is very hard to escape, as we have several years. Regardless, that's all I have for the topics of. I'm gonna look and see. Header. Tag the. Oh right. One that I actually thought was very. First of all, 2 things. Number 1, did anybody catch and this is a question to chat, so I want to Mike Tyson, Floyd Mayweather, scheduled for, I believe, April 25th, going in the Congo. That's going to be very... Honestly, I can't believe what they're doing now. Can't believe what they're doing again. They are going to they're going to resurrect Muhammad Ali. They're going to bring him back, tape his bones together, and they go out and box. It'll be like it's crazy. They're bringing in Tyson. Like, for what purpose? What purpose are we, like, I understand the purpose. It's like, oh my gosh, 2 big names people will watch. But, like, is there seriously not, like, a face of box? Like, I think the second Jake Paul loss is like, oh, well, he's not it. He's not the face anymore. Get him out. Like, they don't have anybody left. Like, come on, dude. Give me. You got to be able to establish somebody as a name, right? There's nobody you can get. Like, we're just nostalgia baiting at this point. We're just getting Floyd and Mayweather and saying, hey, guys, this is all we got. Like, they're gonna need so much just to stay awake that late. Like, these are people going to bed at like 8:30 now. This is gonna be brutal. It's gonna be ridiculous. Come on. I just thought that was funny when I saw that, because I was like, there's no way they're just full on nostalgia baiting. That's what they're doing. That's crazy. That's absurd. What? Come on. What? There has to be somebody bigger in the name of boxing right now. Whatever. I thought that was funny. It rattles my brain. It would be like if you brought back like Joe Montana and Dan Marino now to play quarterback for the Dolphins. Like, no. Don't do that. Don't subjugate me to that torture. And then the other thing I want to talk about, because we've talked about it in chat a couple times before, that John Harbaugh was stated that he actually considered Rex Ryan as his defensive coordinator before he went with the guy from Tennessee. I want to say it was Denard Wilson. Denard Wilson. I just wanted to talk about that for a second. John Harbaugh hiring Rex Ryan, and I know a lot of people were asking, because I forgot what back in 2008. Or excuse me, I was close to the mic. Rex Ryan was the defensive coordinator for John Harbaugh in 2008 when they made the AFC Championship game in Joe Flacco's rookie season. So that's why there was that connection there. But I actually totally think that was a silly move. Like, to go out and try for Rex Ryan. I mean, I guess considering it's not stupid, but to make the move, kind of bizarre considering that Rex Ryan been on TV for the last couple years. I think Denard Wilson was a good hire when they hired, because I don't know how recent they hired him, but I do know that they did bring him in, the Titans defense coordinator. Titans sucked overall, but they were pretty good considering that they only had one guy and his name was Jeffrey Simmons. So, and you know, you're going to be bringing in Wilson, and he's going to have Sexy Dexy. He's going to have Dexter Lawrence. He's going to have Brian Burns off the edge. Hopefully one of those young pass rushers, whether it's Abdul Carter or Kayvon Thibodeau, breaks out on the other side. And then you just got to fix up the back end. That's really the issue. But I think they're going to be a very good run stuffing unit for sure going into next year. I think Saquon's going to have a tough time. I think the Eagles, I'll say this. I don't think Saquon in 2 games against the Giants will have combined 100 yards. That'll be my early hot take. Eagles play the Giants. Saquon will have, in both games combined, he won't even have 100 rushing yards. That'll be my hot take, because I think that Giants D is going to focus in on those 2 games specifically. That was all I had. I wanted to just mention the Denard Wilson thing. Ryan. And then also the Floyd versus Mayweather boxing match. That's going to be a fun one. Outside of that, though, that was Free Refill episode 44. That was what I got for you. Been live for about an hour now, so I'm gonna log off. I appreciate you guys for watching. If you're here and you're new, drop a like and subscribe. You know, I do this Mondays, Tuesdays, Thursdays. Trying to do stuff on weekends, but stuff gets complicated. Plus, I just like enjoying my weekends. I'm like chilling back. But I'll have more stuff planned for weekends. Is at least my plan. I hope it'll. I'm sure we can think of. But outside of that, I'm all out. I got nothing for you guys. So I hope you guys have a good rest of your evening. I'll be here tomorrow. I'll be here with my good friend Diamond. We'll be diving more into Miami Dolphins. Probably also talking about some of the other stuff I'd also talked about today. But outside of that, I appreciate you guys for tuning in to Free Refill episode 44. I hope you guys have a great rest of your evening. I'm going to go make some food and I'm going to hit the gym. I'm going to hit late night gym. Should be empty. I'm excited for that. Late night Monday gym. Going to hit like a truck. My bone's going to be